More than 70,000 runners take part in the Hong Kong marathon races. Thousands of Greenlanders protest against Donald Trump's plan to take over the island. The European Union and Mercosur bloc sign landmark free trade agreement. Hello and welcome to TVB News. I'm Melissa Hekalea. The Hong Kong Marathon was held earlier today, drawing some 74,000 runners locally and internationally to take part in the full and half marathon, as well as the 10-kilometer race. Runners from abroad accounted for 25% of total participants, marking a record high. As of 4 p.m., 59 participants were sent to hospital. Samantha Lee was there.
3, 2, 1.
Runners of both the full and half marathons set off from Tsim Sha Tsui early this morning. This year's 10-kilometer race started from the Eastern Corridor and attracted some 31,000 participants, the largest field among all categories. All routes lead to the finish line at Victoria Park. At the crack of dawn, runners headed onto the city's highways, with cheering crowds along the way. The island exit of the Western Harbour crossing marks the 35-kilometer point for the full marathon runners. But this uphill stretch tested their endurance and strength.
Just won't end. As soon as I think that, okay, the next kind of section is coming up.
It was in a tunnel where everybody was shouting and the noise was like crazy. So I think that was something really exciting. It's kind of pushed you to kind of like, okay, everybody's shouting "Kaya," so like you want to run better.
Finally crossing the finish line, and it's time to celebrate. Local resident Mr. Lai was thrilled to have made a personal breakthrough. While this man recorded exhaustion kicked in during the last 2 kilometers. But the thought of his family waiting at the finish line gave him the push to speed up.
Many runners noted that the weather was pleasantly dry and comfortable during the marathon. They said the weather conditions and arrangement of the event brought about the best of their performance.
This year, the marathon set record high for a number of non-local runners who come from more than 110 countries or regions.
Most of the runners in the world like to collect the stamps and they like to face the challenges of our race course.
Here we go, there's our race.
Malaku Balachu crossed the line first in 2 hours 9 minutes and 39 seconds and performed a joyous dance. The Ethiopian won the men's full marathon for a second time, 9 years after his first victory in Hong Kong. The women's race was won by Shitaya Ashed, representing Bahrain. Samantha Lee, TVB News.
Celebrities and government officials were among the runners in the Hong Kong Marathon. Mimo Singhai reports.
The beep signified the start of the 10 kilometers race. Pikachu also appeared at the sporting event. Pikachu's owner, Ash Ketchum, was behind his electric-type Pokemon. Actor Chow Yun-fat, a regular at the Hong Kong Marathon, joined the race this year with several other celebrities who are all over 70 years old. Like always, Chow was keen to take pictures with fans. Chow and his team completed the 10K race about an hour later. Speaking of the result, Chow said the goal was to complete the event and to greet the audience, adding that the total age of his team went well beyond 100 years old. One of his teammates said they hope to encourage more elderly folks to take up running. Financial Secretary Paul Chan and Security Secretary Chris Tan took part in the Leaders' Cup, a 2 kilometers event between Wan Chai Sports Ground and Victoria Park. Business leaders said the Hong Kong Marathon had turned into an iconic event.
Keep healthy, everyone. Exercise every day. And Hong Kong, forward we go. Hong Kong has become known as one of the key races in the world. And so, of course, it attracts those people that are interested in the marathons.
All the marathon events ended by around noon. Moments 9, TVB News.
Overseas, thousands of Greenlanders marched to protest against U.S. President Donald Trump amid his continued assertions that Washington should control the island. This as Trump announced he will charge a 10% import tax starting in February on goods from the 8 European countries, opposing the U.S. stance on Greenland. Meanwhile, a bipartisan American congressional delegation sought to reassure Denmark and Greenland that the U.S. remains an ally despite the Trump tariff threats. Daniel Rao tells us more.
Thousands of Greenlanders marched across snow and ice to take a stand against US President Donald Trump. This as Trump announced he'll charge a 10% import tax starting in February on goods from 8 European countries over their opposition to US control of Greenland. Denmark, Norway, Sweden, France, Germany, the United Kingdom, the Netherlands and Finland would face the tariff. The demonstrators held signs of protest, waved their national flag and chanted Greenland is not for sale in support of their own self-governance in the face of increasing threats of an American takeover.
He's just arrogant and a very big bully. He does not care of anything. His way of saying things are just so specific and so disrespectful and hateful that it's just hurting everybody around him.
Well, I mean, a tariff of 25% is nothing against the free world, is it? I think that's the way you have to look at it. This is a fight for freedom. It's for NATO. It's for everything the Western Hemisphere has been fighting for since World War II.
Trump has long said he thinks the US should own the strategically located and mineral-rich island, which is a self-governing territory of Denmark. The sentiments were echoed by White House Deputy Chief of Staff for Policy and Homeland Security Advisor Stephen Miller in an interview on Fox News' Channels Hannity. Still, a Danish military official said he does not believe the US will attack Greenland to take it by force.
I will not go into the political part, but I will say that I would never expect a NATO country attack another NATO country. For us, for me, it's not about signaling. It is actually about training military units, working together with allies.
Trump's stance on Greenland prompted criticism from a bipartisan American congressional delegation, who sought to reassure Denmark and Greenland the US remains an ally despite the Trump tariff threats.
There is almost no better ally to the United States than Denmark. If we do things that cause Danes to question whether we can be counted on as a NATO ally, why would any other country seek to be our ally or believe in our representation?
We cannot allow this to become a partisan matter. We just simply cannot.
General TV News.
An Iranian official told Reuters that at least 5,000 people were killed in the Iran protests, including 500 security personnel, blaming terrorists and armed rioters for killing innocent Iranians. Iran's supreme leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei said curbing unrest in his country is not enough and that the United States must be held accountable. This as the leader of Lebanon's Hezbollah group also accused the U.S. and Israel of exploiting peaceful protests in Iran. In Italy, hundreds of people took to the streets Saturday in support of protesters in Iran to demonstrate against the Iranian government. Rallies took place in Rome, Milan, and Turin, with members of the Iranian community in Italy being joined by locals during the marches. Speaking to supporters in Tehran Saturday, Iran's supreme leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei said the U.S. is accountable for the unrest in his country, adding that he had no intention of leading his country into war. This as U.S. President Donald Trump called for an end to Khamenei's nearly 40-year reign. This man is a sick man who should run his country properly and stop killing people, Trump told Politico in an interview Saturday. He added his country is the worst place to live anywhere in the world because of poor leadership. The European Union and the Mercosur bloc of South American countries formally signed a long-sought free trade agreement, strengthening commercial ties in the face of rising protectionism and trade tensions around the world. Tracy Furness has more.
The EU Commissioner for Trade and Economic Security, Maroš Šefčovič, arrived at a hotel in Paraguay's capital Saturday. The Commissioner said starting Monday the debate to ratify the free trade agreement between the EU and the Mercosur bloc of South American countries will be pushed forward in the European Parliament, saying he would get this consent in the first half of the year.
Just to make sure that we do our best, that we would get this consent of the European Parliament in the first half of this year, because it would allow us to complete the ratification process very, very soon. I got the same reassurances and encouragement from all Mercosur ministers. I heard it also from the Mercosur leaders. Everyone will do the procedures as quickly as possible so we can benefit from this historic achievement.
He went on to say the agreement can offset the negative impact of US tariffs.
I think that mutually this deal helps us to overcome the dependencies, and in our case the agreement with Mercosur can more than offset the negative impact of US tariff on the EU economy. I think that it's the, I would say, message to the whole world that if someone prefers and believes in high tariffs and power politics, that Mercosur and European countries representing more than 700 million people clearly believe in low tariffs, in international law, predictability, certainty, and removing of the trade barriers, because this creates smoother operation for economic operators.
Tracy Furness, TVB News.
Still ahead, pro and anti-ICE demonstrators clash in Minneapolis. Development chief vows to ensure stricter vetting for renovation contractors. And more plainclothes fire safety inspections in the future. Welcome back. According to U.S. media reports, the Pentagon has about 1,500 soldiers ready to possibly deploy to the state of Minnesota, where tensions continue to flare over deportation operations by the Immigration and Customs Enforcement. Meanwhile, clashes between pro and anti-ICE demonstrators erupted at a rally in Minneapolis organized by an anti-Islam influencer. Danny Joe has the story.
The Washington Post reported on Sunday that the 1,500 active duty soldiers are placed on prepared-to-deploy orders in case violence escalates. The move comes amid U.S. President Donald Trump's threat to institute the Insurrection Act to dispatch military forces if state officials do not stop protesters from targeting immigration officers. The White House told the Post in a statement that it's typical for the Pentagon to be prepared for any decision the president may or may not make. Right-wing provocateur Jake Lang, who served 4 years in jail for crimes tied to the January 6th attack in the U.S. Capitol, hosted an anti-Islam, anti-Somali and pro-ICE demonstration on the steps of Minneapolis City Hall on Saturday. Only a small number of ICE supporters showed up for Lang's event. A much larger group of counter-protesters converged on the site. They chanted slogans and threw objects at Lang and his associates, chasing them off the scene. The counter-protesters also demanded at least one person to take off a shirt, which they deemed objectionable. Lang later claimed being stabbed during the face-off and alleged he was attacked by one of the counter-protesters. Also in one of the daily clashes in the Twin Cities, protesters were seen throwing snowballs and water balloons before an armored police van. The Trump administration has made Somali immigrants a special target of the deportation crackdown, focusing on fraud allegations in Minnesota, home to the largest Somali community in the U.S. In Carmel Mall, one of the economic hubs for the Somali population in South Minnesota, rows of businesses stood shuttered inside the once bustling complex. Many employees were on edge, afraid to go to work or leave their homes.
Recently, business owners here have said that the ICE presence in town has scared away their customers. A lot of employees don't want to come to work. Some vendors don't even bother opening their shop because they don't expect any customers. And a lot of folks here are worried about racial profiling and worried that even their citizenship won't be enough.
Danny Zhou, TVB News.
Back locally, Financial Secretary Paul Chan said Hong Kong should enhance its development as an international gold trading center to improve the city's role as a super connector and super value adder. Writing in his weekly blog, Chan said Hong Kong Gold Exchange's average daily trading amount for 999.9 gold reached $2.9 billion as of last November. Chan also said he would be heading to Switzerland for the World Economic Forum annual meeting on Sunday evening. He said the event will gather nearly 3,000 leaders from political, business, and think tank sectors. The secretary said he would promote Hong Kong's opportunities under the country's 15th five-year plan. The massive fire at Wang Fuk Court in Tai Po has sparked public concern over bid rigging and malpractices in building maintenance projects. On TVB News' talk show On the Record, Secretary for Development Bernadette Lin explained that the government aims to introduce an improved version of the smart tender service in the latter half of this year, allowing homeowners to choose from a stricter list of qualified contractors. Samantha Lee spoke with the development chief.
The Smart Tender Scheme is a fee-based service rolled out by the Urban Renewal Authority in 2016 with an aim to curb bid rigging. Through an electronic platform, homeowners can get professional advice and procure consultants and contractors to carry out building maintenance projects. To strengthen the vetting process, Secretary for Development Bernadette Lin said the authorities will probe into the past performance and background information of contractors and consultants under the enhanced scheme. But what if the industry players hike their prices collectively?
In the tender assessment process, the URA will definitely make reference to relevant price indices collected by representative bodies. So they will just not look at the tender prices being submitted by the contractors or the consultants, but they will also have reference indices in the market, and those indices are worked out by reputable organizations.
She added the government is likely to continue subsidizing homeowners who participate in the scheme. Meanwhile, scaffolding measures on buildings across the city currently undergoing major renovation projects have been taken off for more than a month.
When will they be put up again?
The Construction Industry Council, which has been helping with this special exercise, has started to distribute the first batch of the qualified and tested nets to the contractors. And I understand from them that the different batches of the nets are being delivered to Hong Kong every few days or 1 week. And upon arrival, those nets will be taken to our designated laboratories for another stage of screening. So in the coming weeks, you will see all these going on and on in different batches.
Samantha Lee, TVB News.
The Fire Services Department said they will carry out more fire safety inspections and enforcement operations in casual wear in the future, deeming it a more effective method than inspecting in uniforms. However, the department also emphasized that uniform inspections are necessary under certain circumstances. Celine Chan tells us more.
About 35 fighters in casual wear showed up at this commercial building on Nathan Road in Mongkok, a known black spot with high risk of fire, for a surprise fire safety inspection and enforcement operation. Including its basement, the building has a total of 28 floors. Inspection teams were sent out to hit every floor at once to keep shops from tipping each other off. A team of officers spotted miscellaneous articles that could obstruct fire exits here and handed a fire hazard abatement notice for its person in charge right on the spot, reminding him to clear the clutter within 24 hours. A total of 40 violations of the fire services regulation were identified in the building, with only a couple of floors found to be violation-free, resulting in 9 fire abatement notices being handed out and 1 direct prosecution. Some 90 officers carried out inspections at other commercial buildings in the Yaoqingmang district the same night. While they were operating in casual clothes, most of them wore their work IDs. Some of them explained that without identification, they could easily be mistaken for ordinary citizens, which could hinder the inspection process. The first large-scale inspection in plainclothes was carried out at the end of last month, and the FSD said the method will be used more frequently in the future.
According to our experience in last December, we find this is quite an effective way to conduct our inspection and also conduct our enforcement actions.
So why wasn't this method adopted earlier?
Currently, some of our inspections are conducted by our operational commands members, and they are required to wear uniform.
Lai further explained that the uniform would be necessary as the frontline firefighters are conducting inspections while they're on duty and are expected to handle incidents that may require immediate response. Following repeated public feedback that some of the fire hazard black spots just revert to their old ways after the inspections, the authorities stated that they would definitely conduct follow-up inspections for each case, reiterating that the recurrence rate of similar situations is actually less than 1%. The Fire Services Department said they'll continue to pursue a multi-pronged approach, including law enforcement, public outreach, and interdepartmental cooperation to collaborate with all sectors in fostering a culture of fire safety. Celine Chan, TVB News.
That's the news. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.